Rolex is one of the most instantly recognized and valuable Swiss luxury watch brands in the world. Rolex has adorned the wrists of many famous people throughout history, and the brand has a synergy with high achievers, which all adds to the brand being more desirable to those trying to achieve the same level of success. The basis for the success that Rolex has had is its extremely high product quality extending over the many years of its existence. Rolex watches show time accurately and are vigorous, durable, and reliable, making it all the more the watch everyone would love to have. However, as much as it is known to be a special and sophisticated watch, Rolex is also famous for its staggering prices. A lot of people believe that Rolex watches are overpriced, and looking at the pre-owned market stainless steel boom going on at the present, well, we should probably agree with them. Anyway, we know you're probably here because you're looking for a Rolex watch that would not be a ripoff of your whole savings, right? Don't worry, because in this video we will be giving you the 3 affordable Rolex watches you can buy. Hello and welcome back to our channel. Sit back and relax, and together let's check out these affordable Rolex watches you may love. Identified as being a highly innovative company, Rolex kept breaking boundaries and driving the entire watch industry forward. And here are some of its models that are the perfect examples of their stunning timepieces, and yet surprisingly within your means. In no chronological order, the first one is the Rolex Oyster Perpetual Date. The Rolex Oyster Perpetual is another entry-level model from Rolex. This is still the ideal watch for those who don't want to spend a lot of money. However, the market values for Oyster Perpetual models with the most recent technology have risen much above list cost. The previous generation Oyster Perpetual, the reference 114300, seems to have had a price increase. You may also try the 34mm Oyster Perpetual Date, popularly known as the Rolex Date, if you're seeking for something cheaper. While you must be able to wear a smaller watch, it has the same Rolex allure as its larger brothers. Again, the same rules apply when it comes to the box and papers and the choice of vintage versus modern. Vintage 34mm Oyster Perpetual models start at roughly $2,500 US. The latest 34mm Oyster Perpetual Date, the reference 15200, was created in the early 2000s. One of the most quintessentially Rolex watches currently in production with a 34mm case diameter is the reference 115234 Date. With a Cyclops magnification lens, stainless steel Oyster bracelet, and 18-karat white gold fluted bezel, the reference 115234 Date checks all the same design boxes as the Datejust, just with a slightly reduced size. Additionally, since the 34mm Date and the 36mm Datejust share the same movement, reference 115234 is in no way a lesser watch compared to the Datejust, just one that is 2mm smaller. This watch could be easily yours for between $4,000 and $6,000, making it one of the most affordable options on this list. Like the smaller Rolex Datejust, the 34mm Rolex Oyster Perpetual Date is the perfect watch for both men and women. Next, we have the ideal entry-level watch for decades. This is the Rolex Datejust. You simply cannot go wrong with a Datejust. The Rolex Datejust has a timeless look that goes with almost anything. It is also ideal for everyday wear since all Rolex watches, the Datejust is tough and simple to maintain. The Datejust is easily recognizable thanks to its timeless aesthetics, the Oyster case's distinctive design, the 18-karat golden fluted bezel, the Cyclops lens over through the date, and the 5-piece link Jubilee wristband. All custom made for the model, all added to the watch's status as a classic. The Datejust comes with a Jubilee, Oyster, or President bracelet according on the model. The 5-piece link Jubilee bracelet was created specifically for the debut of the Oyster Perpetual Datejust in 1945. It is flexible and pleasant. The Oyster bracelet with its broad, flat 3-piece links is the most universal of the Oyster Perpetual collection's bracelets. The exclusive President bracelet with its 3 semicircular links is only available on the Datejust 31 in 18-karat gold. Unfortunately, the cost of a new steel Rolex Datejust has also skyrocketed, making it increasingly difficult to find one at a reasonable price. Is there a method to avoid paying a large sum of money? Well, absolutely. First and foremost, if your wrist allows it, choose the 36mm version. This is the traditional unisex Rolex Datejust. And best of all, you can get one for less than $5,000. The larger 41mm size is unfortunately much more expensive, and you won't be able to purchase one for that price. Another approach to save money on a Rolex watch is to purchase it without the box and papers. While I would usually advise you to buy a watch with its box and papers, buying one without costs a lot less money. If you are certain that the Rolex Datejust is staying with you or your loved one for a long time, this could be a great way to save money. This brings up the question of whether to opt for old or contemporary. Vintage Rolex Datejust, or any vintage Rolex model for that matter, have a lot of appeals. It's enjoyable to see watches that tell a message. Buying vintage could also save you money. A vintage Rolex Datejust in stainless steel may be purchased for about $3,500 and $5,000. On the other hand, if you insist on getting a Datejust from the 2000s, costs start at about $5,000, making it a far more expensive watch. While I prefer the classic elegance of a Datejust, I assume some of you would prefer something a little more contemporary, which is also possible. And lastly, the Rolex Air King. The Air King is yet another classic Rolex timepiece in the catalog. As many of you are probably aware, it is still a part of the Rolex collection, despite the fact that the present model may be phased out in the not-too-distant future. Rolex has also made a big move in positioning, pausing manufacturing after nearly 7 decades to completely overhaul the design and return it to its original tool watch roots. And even though the fact that it's an unusual Rolex, the current Air King sells for far more than its retail price. The Air King reference 14,000M can be yours starting roughly at $4,000 US. Prices for vintage Air King models start at roughly $3,000 and models with Explorer dials go up for $4,500. Rolex special relations with the world of aviation during its golden era into 1930s are represented by the Air King. It was a time when incredible advancements in aircraft performance continued to enhance humanity's ability to conquer the skies, resulting in the advent of long-distance flights. The older Rolex Air King boasts a 34mm Oyster casing, making it a great choice for both men and women. While the reference 5500 resembles other vintage Rolex models such as the Rolex Oyster Perpetual Date and Datejust, it also offers some distinct features. Models with so-called engine-turned bezels, as well as more recent Rolex Air Kings with Explorer dials, are particularly appealing. With a dark blue or salmon Explorer dial and the iconic 369 numerals, the Air King's reference 14,000M looks fantastic. The Rolex Air King 5500 is a fantastic watch for collectors. It is not only the cheapest Air King reference, but also one of the most affordable vintage Rolex models. This price, combined with its traditional and timeless design, makes it an excellent place to start your Rolex collection. As you can see, there are still lots of reasonably priced Rolex watches available. Yes, we're talking about a significant sum of money, but the watches on this list are truly just a fraction of the cost of more well-known brands. And that ends our video for the 3 affordable Rolex watches you can buy. Do you want to see more videos like these? Comment down below and let us know what else you want to see on our next videos. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like, ring the notification bell, and subscribe to our channel to keep you updated on the most luxurious videos we have for you. Thanks for watching, and see you again next time.